My name is Edwin Zapata, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Your Next Step, New Tools for Financial Abundance Now.
I'm Geraldine Carrier, the author of the upcoming book, Wild Woman, Master the Art of Pride, Presence, and Productivity.
A book can be more than just stories. It can engage your audience, create opportunities, generate leads, but only if you have the book work for you.
BCBtv presents Message to Millions, where we spotlight authors and get their message to millions.
Hey everybody, welcome to Message to Millions, Author Spotlight, where we spotlight authors and get their message to millions. My name is Edwin Zapata, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Your Next Step, New Tools for Financial Abundance Now, and I'm here with my co-host,
Geraldine Carrier, and I'm the author of Wild Woman, Master the Art of Pride, Presence, and Productivity. We're excited to have a new author today on our podcast. Edwin, take it away.
Absolutely. So, it's not every day that you get to speak to somebody that makes an impact on the world, let alone especially with mothers. And I have a special place in my heart when it comes to dealing with mothers because, I grew up with a single parent, so it really means something to me. So the person that we're going to get to speak to and hear from today has insight because, he runs a Women's Changemakers Summit. And he's also the host of Mompreneurs podcast. So you definitely want to check that out. He's a event producer and, he's the author of Mother Industrialist. If you go to his website, kennethchoo.co, you can actually get a free downloadable marketing checklist. Now, without further ado, of course, our guest is the one and only Mr. Kenneth Choo.
Woo-hoo! Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. How are you, Kenneth?
I'm great. Thanks, Jer, and also Edwin for inviting me for this podcast. Really excited. As you guys can see, in fact, it's already 1 a.m. when we are doing this, and I'm still so excited. I can't wait for this to happen. So thank you for having me.
Beautiful. That dedication definitely exudes through your work and all of the successes that you've had. So I want to just jump right into things. It's really funny because, you're writing about mothers and women, right? How did that come about? How did that journey to writing your book happen?
Okay, so before I start talking about that, maybe I do a short introduction about myself so that all your guests or the audience will have a better understanding. Who is this gentleman over here? So hi, everyone.
Yes,
I'm Kenneth Choo. I'm from Singapore, born here and raised here. So I'm an author, like what Jer and Edwin have been mentioning. I'm author of Mother Industrialist, Perfecting the Balance Between Motherhood and Business Success. At the same time, I'm also a podcast host of Mompreneurs Space podcast, where I interview mompreneurs from all around the world. And to date, I've interviewed 100 mompreneurs on my podcast in the past 4 years. At the same time, like Edwin have introduced me, I'm also the event producer of Women Changemakers Summit, and also a mompreneurship workshop. And you are wondering, why is a man doing all this, empowering women, empowering mothers to be entrepreneurs, and even interview mompreneurs? And the reason why is because 14 years ago, I was working for a publisher. They had this magazine called Motherhood Magazine. And that's where I was working there as advertising sales, where most of my clients, they are mothers. They just want to start a business because they have passion for certain things, or they just want to leave the job, come out from the rat race and start something that can solve problems. They can solve a mommy's problem, or they just want to pursue something that they are passionate about. So long story short, I was a new dad back then, and I was connected with all these amazing mothers who started their business. At the same time, I saw the other side of it, which my wife, she's a working mom, and I became like the bridge. I was hearing both sides of the story, like the working moms, the stress and the struggles, the challenge of not spending more time with their children. But on the other side of the story, I'm hearing from all these mompreneurs that are having all the time, the financial, be able to spend more time with their children at their own time, own pace, without having the problem or the struggle of getting leaves, getting offs for to attend to their children's upbringing and all that. So at that point of time, that was when I started looking into, hey, what are the problems I can solve? And when I met my publisher from Black Card Book, Gerry Robert, I saw hope because he was sharing with all of us that you can use the book as a message, as a medium for you to spread the message out to the world that can change their life or that can help them. So that was when I sat down with the team, and they helped me to connect back the dots and say, hey, Kenneth, why not let's write a book about mothers, because you're connected with all these mompreneurs. Why not you interview them and feature them in the book? At the same time, you can share with the readers, what is your insight? What have you discovered in this 14 years? So that's where I came out with my mompreneur blueprint, which we consist of the 3P, which is passion, purpose, and profit. So it became, I would say, the 3Ps to help mothers to start a business without, so that they can have more time, more freedom, and be able to do things that are passionate about. So that is how the whole journey started, from just a book itself. And just to show you guys, this is the book, Mother Industrialist. All right. So you'll be wondering, like, my name is over here, and I specially put myself at the back so that people know that, hey, it's a gentleman that's writing the book. So that was the story of how I started getting into this space and writing a book about mothers and interview mompreneurs, so that to show working moms that, hey, it's possible for you to start a business and be able to balance both time and parenting.
I love that. You're so humble, especially with yourself, addressing yourself like, hey, I put myself on the back. And for those that are listening on the podcast audio, the cover of his book shows essentially a mother and an infant, and he put himself on the back. So what that shows me is that he made sure to spotlight mothers even on the cover, so mothers know that they're focused. That's my interpretation of seeing that cover. And I like hearing that story, because growing up with, like, my parents had separated, and it was just my mother and my younger sister and myself, and it wasn't easy, especially because we were on government assistance. But what I like about this is, seeing that struggle, and seeing, for example, my mother, that she wanted, of course, to provide more, because as you get older, I have no problem saying now, especially, that I'm a mama's boy till the end of time, right? When you're a kid, at first you're a little embarrassed, like, oh, I don't want people to know that, that I love my mom and stuff. But then you learn to appreciate, and I can see that that's what you've really embodied. So I'm getting excited here, but let me ask you this question: When you started to go out there and start promoting this, and this is for the fellas out there listening, because I've gotten this as well, because I put a chapter of women empowerment in my book, and I've gotten some like mixed feedback. So for the fellas out there that have a special place in their heart, for the ladies out there, and are trying to give a positive message so that others can also hear, what advice would you have for those out there that would love to share a positive message for women empowerment from the men's perspective? And no, it's not mansplaining before somebody gets upset. What message would you have for them that are a little shy and maybe don't know how to put that message out there, because maybe they don't want to get the negative feedback?
Okay, I think, Edwin, you really spot on this. When I first started off, when I started to talk about it, and I get people asking me, Kenneth, what is your intention of doing this? What are you trying to do? Why are you supporting women? They start to ask a lot of questions. And initially I was like, okay, then I start to explain. I start to talk about my story, like how I share with you guys that I was working for Motherhood Magazine. I was a new dad. My daughter was born. I was connected with all these mompreneurs. And my story basically helped to have that, give them that clarity, that certainty. And my story basically showed them in knowing why am I so passionate about. And they always ask me, oh, in that case, is your wife a mompreneur? I say, precisely, she's not. And that's why I'm doing this. And like what I shared just now, because I saw both sides of the story, one working mom, one mompreneur. And I'm connected with all these mompreneurs that they have the solution for the struggle that the working moms are facing, like what my wife is facing. So that's where I became the bridge to bridge that knowledge, to bridge that awareness that moms can have the best of both worlds. You can balance both business and parenting. And all these ladies that I've interviewed in my book and later on my podcast, which I've interviewed hundreds of them from all around the world, because initially when I first started, there were women saying, oh, Kenneth, your book, most of them are from Singapore. They are based in Singapore. So how about other people from all around the world, from other countries like United States? The cultures are different. The environment are different. I say that I have some certainty. I was not very sure. And as I start to interview mompreneurs from all around the world, from United States, from UK, from Thailand, from all parts of the world, even in Australia, I realized that the problems for mothers is all the same. Working mom, mompreneur. And as a working mom, you don't have time, you don't have the money, because your time is your boss's time. Your time is your employer's time, which is the same throughout the world. And these are the struggles that mothers are facing. And it's the same. And that's how I can get mompreneurs to be my guests every time, because they recognize that, hey, it's the same across the world. The problem that they face, the guilt that they're having of not spending more time with their children are the same around the world, regardless of whether the culture is different, the workforce is different, the corporate America or even the corporate world is different. It does not matter, because it's about not having time and the guilt that they're facing. And this is, and they always ask me that, Kenneth, what makes you think that you are able to be the person that champion women empowerment? I say that it's not about me. It's about the women, about the mompreneurs, the 15 of them that I've connected in the past 14 years that agreed to be interviewed by me. That's the first thing that said me that, oh, I'm experienced, I'm connected with all these mompreneurs, my influence, my network. And then when I started, they say, oh, Kenneth, only 15 mompreneurs does not mean anything. And that's where it kind of kicked me in the butt and say, okay, why not I start interviewing mompreneurs? Because in fact, I interview more than 15 of them. I interview about 25 of them, but I can only feature 15 of them in our book, in my book. So that's where I spin off the idea. Why not I interview them to tell people that, hey, I'm connected with all these mompreneurs. They're able to share their story to a man who's the host, and that says it, right? And now with 100 episodes, period, I don't have to say much, right? So it's about taking action and showing them genuinely that you are really passionate, you are really into women empowerment. And for my case, even deeper, like I connect with Edwin about mothers struggling, seeing our mothers, maybe as a housewife, as a homemaker, they are raising us at the same time, trying to do a lot of part-time jobs to raise us. So as a son, I feel very connected with my mom, and I want to bring this, and I saw the solution, which is from mompreneurs. So I guess for the guys out there that are championing women, or you are afraid to, don't worry. Definitely there will be people, there'll be women that recognize you, that sees that you are passionate about, as long as you keep doing the right thing that feel closer to your heart, that you are authentic, you are real in serving the women, you are real in championing women. So that's all I can share. I hope that helps, Erin.
Yeah, with a response like that, sorry, Gerry, with a response like that, you know what? I'm glad I asked that question, because I needed that answer.
Well, I'm super excited because I interpreted that like a whole differently, right? And it's beautiful because that was an opener to this. So again, being a wild woman, right? So I come from an Indigenous perspective, and most Indigenous people of color, they come from a matriarchal society, which means that not the woman was on top and they made all the decisions, but that she was held in consultation with all decision making, right? And we can see how the world has, gone against that, and it's about patriarchy and all the different things. And so I think it's really refreshing and exciting, the fact that, you see the value and the worth and actually, spotlighting and shining a light to women and, what it is that they need. Now, my question is, for those men out there, right, that may have, wives who have those dreams and those aspirations, and, how to support that, because I think it's really important, this day and age, there's a lot of like demonization of, males. And it's like, oh, I have to be better than men and be stronger than men. And it's this off balance between the sexes, and the balance that needs to be created, both in business, but also in our personal lives. Right. So how would you, what advice would you give to, men in those roles of, understanding that, maybe you do have a very ambitious wife or girlfriend, and how do you support that? What would you say to that?
Wow. That is something that I always face. I always get asked, because, okay, like Gerry, you mentioned about the balance, right? Mm-hmm. If you have realized that ever since women start to have education, that means especially in developed countries like Singapore, United States, Hong Kong, Japan, and all that, women are getting more opportunity to get educated. Like back then, during my mom's era, women are not given the chance to be educated or even going to school. They are supposed to be at home to support the family, to work odd jobs, while the men are supposed to go out and get educated, because they are supposed, back then, that era, they're supposed to be the hunter. So, but now with education coming in, it empowers women to be educated, to be on par in terms of abilities, in terms of getting the bread back home. So this is where you need to start to audit each other, not by men or women, by partners, especially if for a man marrying a woman, getting into marriage, your husband and wife. Like for my case, I'm more of a nurturing. That means first thing we have to audit ourselves, or like who we are, having that self-awareness. Like for my case, I'm more family-oriented. I'm more of a nurturing personality, while my wife, she's more, she gets fulfillment from getting recognized in her work, in her career. So when we start to audit, I'm more 70% at home, more family-oriented, more homely person, while my wife is 70% more career. But does not mean that she's not taking care of the family, she's not taking care of our daughter. It's just that she get more satisfaction, more fulfillment by focusing on her career and being ambitious, being a career woman. And for my case, I feel at ease, I feel grounded, I feel happy when I'm at home. That's why I've been working remotely. I've been working from home for the past 7 years, ever since I started my business, and I love it. So I guess for partners, for husband and wives, it's time for us to audit ourselves, to recognize what is the best format or what is the best way for both of us to live happily. Like for my wife, she wants 70% into work. Okay, I fulfill the remaining part where I take care of the house, I take care of the household chores and stuff like that. So it's where we find that balance in the family, in the relationship, or in the marriage. And we should look at each other as partners, coming together to build a better world, rather than say, hey, you are a man, you should do this. Hey, you are women, you should take care of the kids. No, in today's era, in today's time, we should look at ourselves as partners, as building, and do not care about what other people say that, oh, why Kenneth, why aren't you going out to work? I say, I'm working, I'm making an income. I'm just using my laptop or even using my phone to do my business. What era are you living in? Are you still at the industrial era that you are in factories? You need to clock in and clock out. You don't have to. Every one of us can work using our mobile phone or on the laptop as long as there's connection. That's why during this pandemic, everybody have waken up. Like, why am I commuting to work? Where the first thing that I do in office is just to open up my laptop and get connected and check my emails. It's the difference between me and my friends who reporting to work is that I report to work in my boxes, while my friends are working in their suits, in their shirts and pants. So that's the difference. But everybody are doing the same. And that's where the pandemic have wakened a lot of people. And back to Edwin's question and also Joe's question about what advice for the men is that stop labeling, stop thinking that you are a man, you should do this, women should do that. These are what society wants us to believe on. But look at yourself, look at your family, look at you and your wife. What is best for both of you? What is the format? What is the way? What is the percentage that works for both of you to be the happiest couple in the world? Because being happy, you will pass it down to your children, and your children feel that, oh, my daddy and mommy are happy, they are loving, and that will also set a very good example, role model, and the best environment for our children. So I hope that answered Jeff's question.
I myself, by the way, just going to throw it in there, I'm 100% guilty of having done presentations on Zoom with no pants, just in boxers. So ladies, it's your chance to be free. No, I'm not. I'm just so I don't get in trouble. I'm not saying ladies start, going on Zooms without pants, because I'm, someone's gonna send me an email later, upset. For those in different places of the world. Now, I know Gerry has seen more of the world out there than I have at this present moment. And she's gotten to see different places and stuff. And this is why she herself is so passionate about her message of Wild Woman. But Kenneth, in places where, let's say, and I don't want to pick at anywhere specific, where women are more, how can I put this? They're still kind of held back, sort of thing, and maybe they're being controlled. I just want to say the wrong thing, because then if I end up visiting,
I get what you're trying to bring it. That means in places where women do not have that much advantage or opportunity. Are you trying to say that?
Yeah, and I'll even go as far as saying this, because I don't want to forget my Muslim crowd. I'm not Muslim myself, but I know in a lot of predominantly Muslim places, and I have spoken to and I've coached with a lot of Muslim ladies that they're moms, or they would love to be a mom or have a family, and they feel as if, because of cultural different reasons, whatever, and I'm not putting one above the other, whatever, they feel as if they are unable to do so because of the conditioning that they've been provided. So for those mothers or women that hear the beautiful message that you share, or even that Gerry shares of being a wild woman, but perhaps feel constrained by their cultural or societal differences that are maybe a bit more extreme than other places in the world, what would you say to them, maybe to give that little bit of extra hope, because maybe they don't see the same kind of love, I'm going to say, from men like yourself and myself?
Okay, so I think you mentioned something that is also the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So why I produce, why I organize, why I run Women Changemaker Summit is precisely this reason. Because a lot of time women are not given that opportunity, that platform, that stage to share what they are passionate about, what change they want to make. So now today, with this time era, this generation, with technology, with apps like Clubhouse. And in fact, I have a club that was running, and I created a platform for women to speak up. And like you mentioned, apps like that, audio apps like that, technology like that, it allows women to have opportunity to speak up, to share. And in fact, like what you mentioned, there were women that were in the audience listening to us, bringing up change makers, and I asked them, what makes you a change maker? To the women that's coming on stage to share. And there's a lot of women leaders that were stepping up, and that motivate and inspire and influence the audience who was there listening. After a few sessions, after a few weeks, they pick up the courage and came on stage, because I told them that this is going to be a safe space for you. You're going to be on stage and share what you're passionate about. So everybody took the opportunity. As it goes, right? And at the same time, me as a moderator, together with my 3 other women co-mobs, we make that safe space. If we see any man that is there with no bio that says that they are championing women, and if we see that their profile is a bit mysterious, or they are unknown or anonymous, we will just kick them out, because we want to make sure that the women are being taken care of. That means they have the freedom to talk, to share, and not be being put down by trolls. So this is where like for anyone who want to manage the women empowerment, is to create a safe space. And that is where Women Changemakers Summit, there are no men in the room except me and my co-founder, which happens to be my mentor. Is also a guy. That 2 men are championing women in this space and creating a summit with all women lineup of speakers. There's no men. Even there are men that are really truly vetted by me, that is championing women, then they can be in, and they have a story. So this is where I guess for women who might not have that much opportunity, leverage on technology like that, leverage on Wi-Fi, internet connection, and in apps like Clubhouse or audio app, for you to connect with the world, for you to find a stage. And last but not least is to find a role model, a change maker, and believe that you can change the world. Even you are just a stay-at-home mom, a homemaker, you are changing one's life, which is your children's life, by taking care of them, by giving them the best love, family, relationship, bonding, whatever they can give it to them. You are already changing one life. Who knows that this person may be the next Elon Musk? Who knows that this person may be the next Gerry, right? Next Edwin, right?
Or next Elaine Musk.
Correct. Yeah, who knows, right? So that will change the life, because if my mom have not gave birth to me, or my dad have not come together, I will not be doing what I'm doing today. If not for my publisher to show me the light, I will not be writing a book about mothers. I didn't even know that I could write a book about mothers, interviewing mothers. And all that started because of someone who gave hope, who was the role model for me, to tell me that it's possible. And why I created Women Changemaker Summit, and having 12 to 14 or even 17 speakers, female speakers that's on stage, to tell you that, hey, it's possible. You are a change maker. Even you are a homemaker, you are a change maker. By changing one life, you are a change maker. That has to be in them, because we need women to thrive. We need women to, we call it trailblaze. This is something I learned from Clubhouse, from my female co-mobs. They share with me, women need to trailblaze, need to open up the path. Like back then in oil and gas, or in engineering, in IT, women wasn't the one that is taking the lead. But one woman step up, and that women start to bring other women up to get into the industry. That's why we have women in tech. We have women also championing NFT as of now. So there are more and more, but all we need is one person to open up that path, especially for those maybe countries or environment that doesn't allow. We just need that one courageous and brave women to path that craft, that path for the other women to walk, because even Rome is not built in one day. So even for this path, like for Singapore, or even for United States, for any parts of the world, we just need that one person. Even in movies scenes, we have seen a lot of movies of women empowerment, like Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel. Even at the end game for Avengers, there was a scene where all the women heroes were just appearing on that one scene. Everybody was cheering, right? So this is a statement, the representation. Who is going to represent that? Are you the one, or who are the one? And for my case, I see that I'm the bridge to help women to have the voice, to create a platform for them, to create a safe space for them to network, to mingle. So I hope that answers Gerry's questions.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff there. And I wish we had, more time to, unpack all of these things, because there's so much good juiciness here. And I'm taking notes, just so you know. That's why I'm always kind of like off to here. But one of the things you mentioned earlier was, being happy. Right. And I just love everything you're saying, because I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And, you know, again, being Indigenous, you know, coming from matriarchy, you know, they say that, you know, our women are home fires. They are the one that nurture us and build us. And, you know, they're the ones that are the leaders in, you know, the relationship. And, you know, even though they say the man is the head of the house, it's the woman who's the neck, right? So she gets to move, and you know, so it's very important to have, you know, that those concepts, and to actually build those foundational perspectives in the home. But when you said, you know, being happy, right? So I wanted to ask you the question, you know, what makes you happy? And what would you say to people out there? You know, how should they, like, what are the steps they can take to being more happy?
Okay, I think the first thing first, to be happy, right, is to know why you are not happy. You need to know the opposite. Like, why are you not happy? For example, a working class, not happy going to work. Why? Because they are not doing the things they love. First thing, you're not doing the things you love. Then find the things that you love. What are the things that make you love, make you happy? So it could be simple thing. For example, like before this call, I did a get-together session for my community, my Women Changemaker Network community. And although today it was the first session, there were 3 women that came, and they had we had a ask me anything session with me. So they were taking the opportunity to ask me question, and one of them wanted to start this, and I asked a question, and she realized that, wow, Kenneth, that you have helped me to unlock this thing that I had for years, then you gave me the answer to it. And that makes me happy, by helping someone. Because we human beings, this is something I read in one of the TEDx talk someone shared. We human beings are built or are programmed to do good. And if we help someone, our body will release some chemicals that will make us happy. We will feel goosebumps. We will feel our heart will flutter. We will feel like there's a lot of electric current that's running through our body, and that is happiness. And where do you get happiness? One of the way is through love, compassion, and empathy. So this is what I always advocate. These are the 3 values that I advocate to my Women Changemaker Network community. I told them that this is what the world needs. If you realize that why is the world in this state? Because we lack of love. We need more people with more compassion and empathy. And all these 3 values, right, exist in women. Do you realize that it is in the women? Why? Women naturally, especially mothers, naturally give love to everyone but themselves, right? Sacrifices, like what Evan was mentioning about the mothers, the struggles that she's went through, raising them, both he and his siblings up. Why mothers will go to that extent? Because they have this maternal love that is built in their DNA. And compassion. Women mothers have compassion for another mother's child, for another kid. So imagine, I believe that you guys have seen a scenario like that, or mothers having one stroller with 2 kids running around, but another moms will come and help them with that.
They're heroes.
Irregardless, right? Irregardless, whether are you of another nationality or you another gender, whatever, they will go up and help regardless. And then when they start to talk about parenting, start to talk about their kids, they get connected like sisters, right? So that's where I see that love, compassion, and empathy exists in women. And this is what the world needs, because the world now is in chaos. Why do I say chaos? Because there's so much ego out there. There's so much macho-ness out there. If not just men, there are women who are very strong, right? So that's where we need to balance it. And that's where, on my part, I have to recognize women with that has love, that has compassion, that's empathy, that wants to use this to build a better world, because we need a better world. And to build a better world, we need more love, more compassion, empathy. How do we do that? And that's where Women Changemaker Summit, it was there to support women. We aim to raise women up through education, through knowledge, through entrepreneurship, and through by giving back. by contributing. So this is where I stand, and I hope that by running this on the yearly basis, I'm able to create more change makers, and for women to recognize that they can make a change. They have a purpose in life. They can be the change maker of the new economy. So this is my vision. It started started from mothers are the change maker of the new economy, and now it has become women are the change maker of the economy, because the new has become the normal now. The new norm has become the normal now. So now it's women are the change maker of the economy, right? So this is the vision that had kept me from the beginning of my journey to now. So this is what I will share with the women out there.
With you making the message being like, for women being change makers, mothers being change makers, essentially, and I'll say this again because I like threw it out there while you were talking. Mothers are heroes, and I'll say right now, my mother is my hero. And I think it's important to highlight that, especially to the men out there listening, highlighting women, spotlighting women, empowering women doesn't make you less masculine, because if anything, I feel that it shows that you're insecure with your masculinity if you feel like you have to put women down. If you feel like you can't have, let's say, your lady, your wife, your spouse, whoever, coworker even, if you can't help spotlight somebody else, regardless of their gender, then that's something internally with you. Now, with you highlighting women, again, women are heroes. That's why they have the power to create life. Yes, you need a seed, whatever. Guys, get over yourself, but they have the power to create life. It's referred to as Mother Nature, Mother Earth. Everything that has to do with creation and basically that holds everything together. That shows the powerfulness of everything. But when people coach with you, and you start to mentor them, what kind of shift can they expect to see? Maybe that they're not expecting when they go through coaching with you.
Okay, so the first thing I will do is really listen. I will ask questions to understand them, to let them speak up. There's too many people, how should I put it? There's too many people that's telling them what to do, and they have no chance for them to share what they are. I think the first thing as a coach or even as a mentor is to really be a friend. Be a friend to them, really hear them out, lend them a listening ear before you start commenting on anything. Because most of us, we don't even have a chance, especially for working adults, working women. Most of the time, they are just taking instruction. They don't even have a voice. And that's why women in some places, some parts of the world, they don't even have a voice. So if you don't have that courage to have that voice, then it's time for you to start now. So for me, when I coach someone, especially a women student or women coachee, the first thing I will do is to really feel them. I will put on that means the love for them, and also being compassionate and empathize what they have gone through, and see what I can help them, what I can do for them, right? So just being at that position, that would be the start of me coaching women in general, because they need to feel. Women is more sensitive. They need to be felt that you are genuine, like Kenneth, you are a man. How can you understand women? And that's where I will start to be more vulnerable. I will start to share my depression. I will start to share about my vulnerability, so that they know that, hey, a man can be so vulnerable, can share all his weaknesses with me. So what is there to hide? So being myself, being real, I think that's the key to it. Be authentic, being real, having that heart-to-heart connection. That's the key whenever I mentor or coach anyone.
Wow. Edwin, thoughts?
You know what? Let me follow that with also a wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful, it's strategic, it's smart, it's chic, it's all the things. And I mean, I'm just so happy that I had to have this conversation with you and to actually get in and understand what, Mother Industrialist actually means, right? There's so much good stuff here. I want you to share with our listeners, how can people get a hold of you?
Okay, so they can recently I've just rebrand my handles and all that. So you can look for kennethchoo.co, or you can go to my website, which is kennethchoo.co. So you can look for me. There are a lot of goodies there. There's also my podcast being featured there, and also some of my interviews that you can find me talking about women empowerment, how you can balance your work and life, and stuff like that. So you can find more about me. You can also connect me on Instagram, Facebook, or even TikTok. Yeah. So
are you a dancer on TikTok?
I'm not a dancer. In fact, I'm one of the education content creator for TikTok Singapore. So I create educational content creators, education content. Yeah.
Awesome. And what are your handles on TikTok, on all of the platforms?
Okay, so for most of the handles, it's now kennethchoo.co, and for TikTok, it's Kenneth Choo TV. Yeah.
Beautiful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I think, the listeners and myself, I think I can speak for Edwin in this, that, you give so much, beautiful, amazing messages and so much content and so many things that we can take away to actually apply to our everyday life. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here with us. And of course, I just wanted to extend everybody out there that's listening. Of course, we are a giving back bunch here. And of course, the Message to Millions podcast is brought to you by Black Card Books. And we would like to give you a free gift. If you go over to bit.ly/BCB books, you can get one of our downloadable books, which is The Millionaire Mindset by our incredible CEO and founder, Gerry Roberts. Well, thank you guys so much for joining the podcast today, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
BCBtv. Believe, create, become.